Takeoff Aviation Academy, UK. International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. Standard Phraseology. Online aviation courses at https://takeoff.academy. A quick reference guide for controllers and pilots. Communication error is the biggest causal factor in both level busts and runway incursions worldwide. This video's aim is to provide both pilots and controllers within controlled airspace with a quick reference guide to commonly used radio telephony, RTF, phrases that may be encountered during a routine flight. The goal is to improve safety by raising RTF standards. The need for clear and unambiguous communication between pilots and air traffic control, ATC, is vital in assisting the safe and expeditious operation of aircraft. It is important, therefore, that due regard is given to the use of standard words and phrases and that all involved ensure that they maintain the highest professional standards when using RTF. This is especially important when operating within busy sectors with congested frequencies where any time wasted with verbosity and non-standard, ambiguous phrases could lead to flight safety incidents. Phraseology has evolved over time and has been carefully developed to provide maximum clarity and brevity in communications, while ensuring that phrases are unambiguous. However, while standard phraseology is available to cover most routine situations, not every conceivable scenario will be catered for, and RTF users should be prepared to use plain language when necessary, following the principle of keeping phrases clear and concise. This video takes you through the following phases of flight. 1. Clearance and taxi. 2. Takeoff and departure. 3. Read back. 4. Climb, cruise and descent. 5. Approach and landing. 6. Emergency communications. Note: this document uses RTF examples showing both pilot, denoted by blue text, and ATCO denoted by italics. For example, pilot, Metro Ground, Big Jet 345, request taxi. ATC, Big Jet 345, Metro Ground, taxi to holding point Alpha 1, hold short of runway 18. Clearance and taxi. Taxiing. A safety-critical activity. RTF is crucial to the safety of the flight during taxiing. Any mistake that causes the aircraft to enter a runway in error could be catastrophic. Taxi clearance limit. All taxi clearances will contain a clearance limit, which is the point at which the aircraft must stop unless further permission to proceed is given. RTF taxi instructions to departure runway. Pilot, Metro Ground, Big Jet 345, request taxi. ATC, Big Jet 345, Metro Ground, taxi to holding point Charlie, runway 27. Pilot, taxi to holding point Charlie, runway 27, Big Jet 345. Controller, Big Jet 345, contact Metro Tower 119.2. Pilot, contact Metro Tower 119.2, Big Jet 345. Crossing an intermediate runway. If a taxi route involves crossing a runway, whether active or not, specific clearance to cross that runway is required. Departure delay information. Departure sequence information such as number 5 to depart, or expect departure in 5 minutes is not a takeoff clearance. RTF taxiing across an intermediate runway. Pilot, Metro Ground, Big Jet 345, request taxi. ATC, Big Jet 345, Metro Ground, taxi to holding point Alpha 1 runway 18. Pilot, taxi to holding point Alpha 1, runway 18, Big Jet 345. When traffic permits. ATC, Big Jet 345 cross runway 18 at Alpha 1, taxi to holding point Charlie, runway 27. Pilot, cross runway 18 at Alpha 1, taxi to holding point Charlie, runway 27, Big Jet 345. Note: ATC may request Big Jet to confirm when runway 18 is vacated. A conditional taxi clearance. Conditional clearances may expedite traffic flow, but there are risks. Readback must be in full and in the same sequence as given. A taxi clearance, shown below, allows taxi after another action has first taken place, i.e. the condition of the clearance. Where there may be ambiguity as to the subject of the condition, additional details such as livery and/or color are given to aid identification. A conditional taxi clearance allows the aircraft to taxi only after another action has taken place. The structure and order of conditional clearances is essential to their safe execution. Correct readback of a conditional clearance is vital. Pilot, Metro Delivery, Big Jet 345, Stand Bravo 1, Boeing 737 with information Quebec, QNH 998, request clearance. ATC, Big Jet 345, Metro delivery, cleared to Smallville, Tango 1 Alpha departure, Squawk 3456, slot time 1915. Pilot, cleared to Smallville, Tango 1 Alpha, Squawk 3456, Big Jet 345. Pilot, Big Jet 345, request startup. ATC, Big Jet 345, startup approved, contact Metro Ground 118.75 for taxi instructions. ATC, Big Jet 345, startup approved, contact Metro Ground 118.75 for taxi instructions. Pilot, Metro Ground, Big Jet 345 Stand 81, request taxi. ATC, Big Jet 345, Metro Ground, after the white Swiss white Airbus 320 with a white cross on the red fin, taxi to holding point runway 18. Pilot, Swiss white Airbus 320 with a white cross on the red fin, taxi to holding point runway 18, Big Jet 345. In all cases a conditional clearance shall be given in the following order and consist of 1. Identification. 2. The condition. Point 3. The clearance. 4. Brief reiteration of the condition. Conditional clearance to cross the intermediate runway. Conditional phrases, such as behind landing aircraft, or after departing aircraft, shall not be used for movements affecting the active runways, except when the aircraft or vehicles concerned are seen by the appropriate controller and pilot. The aircraft or vehicle causing the condition in the clearance issued shall be the first aircraft, vehicle to pass in front of the other aircraft concerned. Note: beware, the phrase behind has been misinterpreted as an instruction to get close to the preceding aircraft, leading to serious jet blast incidents. ATC, Big Jet 345, after landing Airbus 320, cross runway 18 at Charlie 2 after. Pilot, after landing Airbus 320, cross runway 18 at Charlie 2 after, Big Jet 345. ATC, Big Jet 345, taxi to holding point Charlie 1, runway 27. Pilot, taxi to holding point Charlie 1, runway 27, Big Jet 345. ATC, Big Jet 345, contact Metro Tower 123.625. Pilot, contact Metro Tower 123.625. Takeoff and departure. Takeoff shall only be used when issuing a clearance to take off. Do not use phrases such as prior to takeoff or after takeoff. If the controller uses after departure or follow, this is not a clearance to take off. Any instructions to hold position or hold short of shall be read back in full using the appropriate phrase, holding or hold short of. In the airport environment, the word cleared shall only be used in connection with a clearance to take off or land. To aid clarity, a takeoff clearance will always be issued separately. Takeoff clearance. Pilot, Metro Tower, Big Jet 345, approaching holding point Charlie 1. ATC, Big Jet 345, Metro Tower, line up and wait, runway 27. Pilot, lining up runway 27, Big Jet 345. ATC, Big Jet 345, runway 27, cleared for takeoff. Pilot, cleared for takeoff Big Jet 345. Once airborne, ATC, Big Jet 345, contact Metro Radar 124.6. Pilot, contact Metro Radar 124.6, Big Jet 345. Amendment to departure clearance. Amendments to departure clearances are known to contribute to runway incursion incidents. The phraseology for amendments to departure clearances where the aircraft is approaching the runway will begin with hold position. Amendment to departure clearance. Pilot, Metro Tower, Big Jet 345, approaching holding point Charlie 1. ATC, Big Jet 345, Metro Tower, hold at Charlie 1. 1. Pilot, hold at Charlie 1, Big Jet 345. ATC, Big Jet 345, hold position, amendment to clearance, Tango 3 Foxtrot departure, climb to 6,000 feet. Pilot, holding, Tango 3 Foxtrot departure, climb to 6,000 feet, Big Jet 345. Or, ATC, Big Jet 345 hold position, after departure climb to altitude 6,000 feet. Pilot, holding, after departure climb to 6,000 feet, Big Jet 345. Conditional line-up clearance. Important points involving the active runway: the condition is always given directly after the call sign and before the clearance. Conditional clearances must be read back in full and in exactly the same sequence as given, plus a brief reiteration of the condition. The aircraft or vehicle that is the subject of the condition must be visible to the flight crew and the controller. The subject aircraft or vehicle of the condition shall be the next aircraft, vehicle to pass. The condition must relate to only one movement. Always clarify if unsure. A conditional line-up clearance. Pilot, Metro Tower, Big Jet 345, approaching holding point Charlie 1. ATC, Big Jet 345, Metro Tower, hold at Charlie 1. Pilot, hold at Charlie 1, Big Jet 345. Conditional line-up clearance. ATC, Big Jet 345, behind landing Boeing 757, line up runway 27, behind. Pilot, behind landing Boeing 757, line up runway 27, behind, Big Jet 345. Canceling takeoff clearance. If takeoff clearance has to be cancelled before the takeoff roll has commenced, the flight crew shall be instructed to hold position, stating reason. If it is necessary to cancel takeoff clearance after the aircraft has commenced the takeoff roll, the flight crew shall be instructed to stop immediately. Canceling takeoff clearance. Aircraft has not commenced takeoff roll. ATC, Big Jet 345, hold position, cancel takeoff. I say again, cancel takeoff due to vehicle on the runway. Pilot, holding, Big Jet 345. Aircraft has commenced takeoff roll. ATC, Big Jet 345, stop immediately. Big Jet 345, stop immediately. Pilot, stopping, Big Jet 345. Read back. Read back is vital for ensuring mutual understanding between the pilot and the controller of the intended plan for that aircraft. Following correct read back, the flight crew must ensure that they carry out the correct action. Statistics show that one of the most common causes of a level bust is correct read back followed by incorrect action. Strategies to prevent the above error include noting down the clearance prior to read back and ensuring that both flight crew members listen to all clearances, including taxi clearance. If in doubt, check. Any safety-related message or part of message transmitted by voice must always be read back. The following shall always be read back: taxi instructions, level instructions, heading instructions, speed instructions, airways, route clearances, approach clearances, runway in use, all clearances affecting any runway, SSR operating instructions, altimeter settings, VDF information, type of radar service, transition levels. Frequency changes should always be read back in full. Checking the accuracy of a readback is far easier if the information is read back in the same order as given. Omissions are more difficult to pick up than incorrect data. When a readback is required, ensure it is complete and in the order given. Always listen for, and check, ATC confirmation or correction of readback. Climb, cruise and descent. Initial calls. Studies show that an initial call which does not contain all the required information can lead to a loss of separation. On first contact after departure include, call sign, SID, current or passing level plus cleared level. The information in the initial call is essential for the safety of the aircraft by ensuring mutual understanding between the crew and the controller of the intention for the aircraft. Omissions will require an additional call for clarification, which may lead to frequency congestion. On first contact with subsequent frequencies include call sign, and wake, turbulence category if heavy, and level, including passing, and cleared level if not maintaining the cleared level. Cleared level, if different from current level. Speed, if assigned by ATC, and other ATC clearance assigned. RTF initial call. Initial call to radar. Pilot, Metro Radar, Big Jet 345, Tango 3 Foxtrot, passing 2,300 feet climbing to 6,000 feet. ATC, Big Jet 345, Metro Radar, radar contact. Headings. Headings ending in 0 can easily be confused with flight levels. This confusion can be avoided by appending the word degrees, however this is not an ICAO requirement or recommendation. Flight levels. Flight levels below flight level 100 are referred to as two-digit numbers, e.g. climb flight level 80 to reduce the risk of confusion with a heading instruction, e.g. heading 080. Flight levels 100, 200 and 300 are often confused for 110, 210 and 310. Special care should be taken when enunciating 00. En route RTF. RTF en route examples: ATC, Big Jet 345, fly heading 260, climb to flight level 100, no speed restrictions. Pilot, fly heading 260 degrees, climb to flight level 100, no speed restrictions, Big Jet 345. ATC, Big Jet 345, fly direct Bonnie, climb to flight level 360. Pilot, direct Bonnie, climb to flight level 360, Big Jet 345. ATC, Big Jet 345, contact Northern Control, 132.6. Pilot, contact Northern Control, 132.6, Big Jet 345. Pilot, Northern Control, Big Jet 345, passing flight level 240, climbing to flight level 30, direct Bonnie. ATC, Big Jet 345, Northern Control, fly direct Clyde. Pilot, direct Clyde, Big Jet 345. Reduced vertical separation minima, flight crew shall report RVSM approved status with affirm RVSM, and report RVSM non-approved with negative RVSM, followed by reason. Flight crew denying ATC clearance into RVSM shall state unable RVSM, followed by the reason, for example, unable RVSM due turbulence, or unable RVSM due equipment. Flight crew able to resume RVSM shall use the phrase ready to resume RVSM. ATC should be informed when a non-RVSM approved state aircraft is requesting climb into RVSM airspace, thus: request flight level 320, negative RVSM. If able, ATC will give the clearance as follows: climb to flight level 320, negative RVSM. Notice that the term negative RVSM is used in the clearance and the readback, thus climb to flight level 320, negative RVSM. Otherwise, ATC will state that they are unable to issue the clearance into RVSM airspace. RTF for TCAS, TCAS. Once an aircraft departs from its ATC clearance or instruction in compliance with an RA, or a pilot reports an RA, the controller ceases to be responsible for providing separation between that aircraft and any other aircraft affected as a direct consequence of the maneuver induced by the RA. If an RA is causing departure from the ATC clearance. Call sign, TCASRA, pronounced TCASRA. When returning to assigned clearance. Call sign, clear of conflict, returning to assigned clearance. When the assigned ATC clearance has been resumed. Call sign, clear of conflict, assigned clearance, resumed. When an ATC clearance contradictory to the TCASRA is received, the flight crew will follow the RA and inform ATC directly. Call sign, unable, TCASRA. Conditional clearances. Conditional clearances can be issued e.g. in the TMA, after passing altitude 4,000 feet, fly heading 100, these must be treated with great care and read back in exactly the same format in which they are given. If in doubt, check. Writing down such clearances should help in preventing a conditional clearance being neglected. Avoiding action. Lateral avoiding action. ATC, Big Jet 345, turn left, or right, immediately heading 270, or 30 degrees, to avoid traffic at 12 o'clock 5 miles crossing left to right, 500 feet above and climbing. Vertical avoiding action ATC, Big Jet 345, climb, or descend, immediately to flight level 160, traffic at 12 o'clock 3 miles opposite direction, same level. An urgent tone shall be used. VHF frequencies, use of 6 digits. Use 6 digits except where the final 2 digits of the frequency are both 0, in which case only the first 4 digits need to be transmitted. Simultaneous or continuous transmissions. Direct controller, pilot communication can be adversely affected by simultaneous or continuous transmissions. There are times when the controller is not aware of a blocked transmission, but a pilot is. On hearing a simultaneous transmission, it can be helpful if a pilot informs ATC that the transmission was blocked. ATC, transmission blocked, Big Jet 345. 2. And 4. Use of the word to directly before a climb, descent instruction or change of heading can be confused as to. Such confusion is avoided by using the mandatory words flight level or heading immediately before the numbers. ATC, Big Jet 345, climb to flight level 180. ATC, Big Jet 345, turn left to heading 310. There are also occasions where inappropriate use of the word for can introduce confusion if it is interpreted as the number 4. Wake vortex separation requests. Do not ask for reduced vortex wake separation. Controllers do not have discretion to grant this. Approach and landing. Pilot interpreted approaches, EGILS. Phraseology. The phrase cleared ILS approach runway 18 has, in the past, introduced some ambiguity whereby pilots have taken this to mean they are cleared to the altitude, height depicted on the approach chart immediately prior to the final approach fix. This should not be assumed. Normally clearances to descend at this point will be given distinctly. Other phrases that are commonly in use include ATC, report established localizer, or ILS, GBAS, SBAS, MLS approach course. ATC, maintain 3,000 feet until intercepting glide path. ATC, report established on glide path. Radar vectors from the hold towards the ILS. Pilot, Metro approach, Big Jet 345, Boeing 737 with information Papa, holding Mayfield descending flight level 80. ATC, Big Jet 345, Metro approach, now information Quebec, new QNH 998. Pilot, QNH 998, Big Jet 345. ATC, Big Jet 345, leave Mayfield, heading 120 descend to 6,000 feet, QNH 998, speed 210 knots. Pilot, heading 120, descend to 6,000 feet, QNH 998, speed 210 knots, Big Jet 345. ATC, Big Jet 345, turn right heading 180, speed 180 knots, vectoring ILS runway 27 right. Pilot, right heading 180, speed 180 knots, Big Jet 345. ILS continued, ATC, Big Jet 345, turn right heading 240, descend to 3,000 feet, report established localizer runway 27 right. Pilot, right heading 240, descend to 3,000 feet, report established localizer runway 27 right, Big Jet 345. Pilot, Big Jet 345, established localizer. ATC, Big Jet 345, cleared ILS approach runway 27 right. Pilot, cleared ILS approach runway 27 right, Big Jet 345. Or in busy RTF situations, ATC, Big Jet 345, turn right heading 240, cleared ILS approach runway 27 right, maintain 3,000 feet, until glide path interception. Pilot, turning right heading 240, cleared ILS approach runway 27 right, maintain 3,000 feet until glide path runway 27 right. Continue approach. If the runway is obstructed when the aircraft reports final, but it is expected to be available in good time for the aircraft to make a safe landing, the controller will delay landing clearance by issuing an instruction to continue approach. The controller may explain why the landing clearance has been delayed. An instruction to continue is not a clearance to land. Continue approach. Pilot, Metro Tower, Big Jet 345, final runway 27 right. ATC, Big Jet 345, continue approach. Pilot, continue approach, Big Jet 345. ATC, Big Jet 345, cleared to land, runway 27 right, wind 270 degrees 10 knots. Pilot, cleared to land runway 27 right, Big Jet 345. The go-around. Instructions to carry out a missed approach may be given to avert an unsafe situation. When a missed approach is initiated, cockpit workload is inevitably high. Any transmissions to aircraft going around shall be brief and kept to a minimum. In the event of a missed approach being initiated by the pilot, the phrase going around should be used. RTF the go-around. Controller initiated, ATC, Big Jet 345, go around. Pilot, going around, Big Jet 345. Pilot initiated, pilot, Big Jet 345, going around. ATC, Roger, followed by suitable instruction. Aircraft emergency communications. RTF emergency communications. As soon as there is any doubt as to the safe conduct of a flight, a pilot will immediately request assistance from ATC. Flight crews should declare the situation early. It can always be cancelled. A distress call, situation where the aircraft requires immediate assistance, is prefixed Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. An urgency message, situation not requiring immediate assistance, is prefixed Pan Pan, Pan Pan, Pan Pan. Make the initial call on the frequency in use, but if that is not possible, squawk 7700 and call on 121.5. The distress, urgency message shall contain, at least, the name of the station addressed, the call sign, nature of the emergency, fuel endurance and persons on board, and any supporting information such as position, level, descending, speed and heading, and pilot's intentions. RTF Emergency Communications Mayday, 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 Metro Control, Big Jet 345, main electric failure, request immediate landing at Metro, position 35 miles northwest of Metro, heading 120 flight level 80 descending, 150 persons on board, endurance 3 hours. ATC, Big Jet 345, roger the Mayday, turn left heading 090, radar vectors ILS runway 30. Pilot, Big Jet 345 request runway 12. ATC, Big Jet 345, roger, turn right heading 140 for radar vectoring runway 12, descend to 3,000 feet, QNH 995, report established. Pilot, Big Jet 345, heading 140, descend to 3,000 feet QNH 995, report established localizer runway 12. Fuel reserves approaching minimum. Fuel emergency, or fuel priority, are not recognized terms. Flight crews short of fuel must declare a PAN or Mayday to be sure of being given the appropriate priority. Radio failure. Over recent years, the number of reported radio failure incidents has increased considerably. With the heightened awareness in airborne security, ATC's inability to contact an aircraft experiencing a radio failure could lead to that aircraft's interception by military aircraft. Pilots should familiarize themselves with loss of communications procedures and/or sleeping receiver procedures, including the use of 121.5 MHz. Operators should ensure that ATC units have readily available 24 hours contact details of company flight operations control. Takeoff media production for Takeoff Aviation Academy. Acknowledgement, Eurocontrol and International Civil Aviation Organization. ICAO.